Bonjour! Bonjour!
No.
Time for bladder check. Check.
So it's a show?
It's a lifestyle.
It's a religion.
My emotions! My emotions!
I'm still French.
Ouais, c'est pas faux.
I'm a woman, Mary. I can be as contrary as I choose.
Non, moi je crois qu'il faut que vous arrêtiez d'essayer de dire des trucs.
Hello, hi, I'm Laura. I'm gonna watch The Twilight Zone Season 3, Episode 16. For those of you who are new on this channel, you can't know it, but I have that project on my channel since a long time now, since years now, I think, something like that, to watch episodes of The Twilight Zone, to react to episodes of The Twilight Zone, but not regularly, like not one each week or something like that, not also into the chronological order, and I don't intend to react to all of them. It's really when I have a little gap on my schedule, I place, one reaction video about the Twilight Zone. And why this episode, how I'm selecting the episodes, it's from IMDb. I selected the episodes with the best rates, the 50 first episodes, according to their rates. I selected them. I think that I already reacted to at least 15 episodes of the Twilight Zone so far. Today I'm gonna watch only one. I have the place for one episode of the Twilight Zone. I thought that it has been a long time that I didn't react to one. And also, right now, when I'm filming, it's the 1st of January. So I have the impression that it's also going with the mood, of Christmas, New Year, all of that, to watch an episode of the Twilight Zone. I don't know why, I feel like it. So that's why today I'm gonna watch one episode of this show. That's why I selected this one. That's why it's one coming out of nowhere, and maybe you're not gonna have reaction videos for the Twilight Zone after that 3, 4, 5, 6 entire months, I don't know. It's like that. This episode 3, just to give you the context of it, it was out in January of 1962. Each time I'm giving the date because I think that it's really important to measure the fact that what we're gonna see, the story which was written, which was filmed also like that, it was in 1962. We know that with the Twilight Zone, sometimes we can have the impression that the stories are really modern and stuff like that, like they could be out right now. Because in fact the Twilight Zone inspired a lot of the shows, movies, stories that we can watch, read right now in our days. And it was really modern when it was out, and looking at it, watching this episode right now, it still feels like it. So again, this episode was out in January of 1962. It's named Nothing in the Dark, and the synopsis of it that I read, that's the only thing that I read, before watching this episode. It's an elderly recluse facing imminent eviction who refuses to allow anyone into an apartment because she fears that the next visitor is gonna be death. Death coming to take her. And apparently she's gonna be challenged with that idea. That's the only thing that I know about this story. The date, the title, that little synopsis, and the fact that it's a Twilight Zone, so, it's gonna be maybe a little weird, it's gonna go maybe a little far, like, they're gonna surprise me with things. I think that since I began Twin Peaks, to binge watch Twin Peaks, I didn't watch new episodes of the Twilight Zone. So right now, I'm like, Twilight Zone, can you surprise me? Because I'm watching Twin Peaks, so like really, I'm used to weird stuff right now. So in fact, you need to bring a lot of things to make me feel weird, disturbed when I'm watching Twin Peaks, and each episode is just going far and far and far and further away. Like the last episode that I watched of Twin Peaks, it's episode 8 of the season 3. For those of you who know, about Twin Peaks, about this show, you know how weird it was and all the origins of Twin Peaks it was. So clearly you need to do a lot, Twilight Zone, right now to really make me feel weird and disturbed. But I'm just glad to be there for a new episode. I'm gonna stop this intro right now. I don't have a lot else to say. If not to tell you that on my Patreon, you have these reaction videos earlier. You have them with two versions. A longer reaction part with the level 2, the full reaction part with the level 3, meaning all of the episodes. My reactions and my thoughts to the entire episode, everything with full opacity. I know that posting my reaction videos for the Twilight Zone, it's really rough, you know, to post them on YouTube, so I'm forced to cut a lot, I'm forced to play a lot with opacity. It's a black and white show, so clearly I know that because of that, the quality of the video on YouTube is not that great, so if you want, you know, to feel better, to have a better version, you have the longer reaction part with the level 2, the full reaction part with the level 3 on my Patreon. You have all of the links into the description. Okay, guys, let's go for this episode! I don't know. Don't ask, I don't know. Why, Laura? Why? Your place is not that great, lady. Like, really, right there, your window and everything around you. Oh.
Who is it? Go away.
I've been shot. I need help.
Who are you?
Officer. Please.
You're lying to me. I know you. You can't fool me. You're lying. You're no policeman. Why can't you leave me alone? I know who you are.
You think he's death. I read the synopsis.
I know what you are.
But why do you think that? Why are you so obsessed by death? Oof. Death is gonna come to take him.
Unless you help me, I'm going to die. I don't think I can move.
Don't say that. It isn't fair.
Fair?
I'll close the door.
What? Listen, I've been shot. I'm bleeding to death. Please. My name is Harold Belden.
Hello, Harold. Bye-bye, Harold.
Please call this me.
She's never gonna open the door.
I'd have to unlock the door. You can't ask me to do that. I don't want to die.
Is it the Walking Dead outside? Like, you have only zombies and stuff like
I
that?
know who you are. It isn't fair.
I can't move.
Oh, I was wrong.
I'm still alive.
The fact that he was not feeling weird about her saying, I know who you are, what you are, I'm like, are you right in fact, lady? Is it a trap?
Now listen, you should try and get some rest. Really, I feel much better. The doctor
Ow.
gets here. He'll take me off your hands. You didn't call the doctor?
How can you feel better?
Why not?
I haven't got a telephone.
Couldn't you go to one of the neighbors?
There aren't any. They've all moved away. Trucks came and took away their furniture.
Okay, it has been days maybe in fact.
Even if I could call the doctor somehow, I couldn't take a chance and let him in. He might be him.
Him?
Mr. Death.
Yes, I was losing because of that. For her, this is a guy.
He comes to the door. Last week he said he came from the gas company. Oh, he's clever. After that he claimed to be a contractor hired by the city. He said this building was condemned, that I'd have to leave. He knows I'm on to him.
I think you're losing your mind. For the contractor, for everything, I think that they just truly want you to
That
leave.
sounds crazy. I know it's true.
But old people, when you're telling them to change something and to move, they have the impression that it's gonna kill them to do it, so...
Maybe there is more than one, but why I could see, and that no one else could. Then I knew.
I'm wondering, he looks like a young Robert Redford.
And my time was
I'm
coming.
pretty sure that I'm wrong with that
I
for
could see clearer than younger people.
when this episode was out.
You could avoid him.
Because his face is always different. I couldn't be sure.
You have his voice as well.
How about when you go out?
I never go out.
Never.
For
I've
food.
been out for years.
What do you do about food?
A boy delivers it. I leave him money in the list.
How can you live like this?
For sure, you went crazy because of that.
Live at all.
I'm sorry, I need to check. It's Robert Redford? Yes, it's him! I knew it! I love a lot Robert Redford, okay? You know, some ladies, it's all about George Clooney. Me, it's all about Robert Redford. But Robert Redford, you know, not being that young, not being old, middle age. Robert Redford.
I haven't always lived like this. I was young once. People said I'd spoil my fine complexion. I didn't care. I loved outdoor things. I lived out in the sun.
Since how long didn't you see the sun?
I've always hated the dark and the cold. I'm old. I've lived a long time. Don't want to die. I'd rather live in the dark than not live at all.
Oh, it's really deep, the subject of this episode, you know, about old people who don't want to move, don't want any change, who don't want to die.
Here, you need some rest.
You too. There is someone.
There's nothing to be afraid of. That's right. Go ahead.
Why are you not screaming? You like... Okay, you can't get up, but you can talk, you can scream.
I'm sorry, lady, but I've got my orders.
That's the contractor? She's not dead. I think that they're about to destroy that building, and that's why they're asking her to move. Yes, he's touching you.
Still early.
I don't get no pleasure out of busting indoors. You don't seem to realize how important this is. I've got a crew and equipment coming in an hour to pull this tenement down. Begging your pardon, ma'am, but it's long overdue. I'm surprised it's still standing.
And you're really not Mr. Death?
I don't know what you're talking about. All I know is I've got a contract to demolish this row of buildings.
Where is the officer?
You want me to go outside? You want me to leave here? I can't.
I'm just trying to do my job. These buildings were condemned by the city, and I'm the one who's got to tear them down. Building has had it. It's worn out, used up. All these buildings have got to come down. I ain't a monster, lady. I'm hard just like anybody else. I can see how you could get attached to a place and not want to see it wrecked, but when the building is old, it's dangerous. Come down to make room.
You know, it's really talking to me a lot. Old people who don't want to leave their place, even if it's beginning to be bad for them, just because they are so used to it, they are afraid of the unknown, fear also that it would kill them. And it's also really about her being afraid of dying, and she prefers to not live than to risk to die.
You got any possessions you want to keep?
Where is the officer?
Now look, I've been trying to go easy, but if you insist on staying here, I'll have to call a cop.
Explain to him. Tell him the reason I can't go out there. You'll help me, won't you?
What are you doing?
You can't see him?
Who are you talking to?
Please tell him.
I'm sorry, but if you're still here when the crew arrives, I'll have to call a cop.
He can't see him. Robert. Tu n'avais entendu un name, non? Non?
You tricked me. It was you all the time. The moment I let you inside, you would have taken me any time. But you were nice. You made me trust you.
Am I really so bad? Am I really so frightening?
This can look really pretty.
Have I tried to hurt you? It isn't me you're afraid of. You understand me. What you're afraid of is the unknown. Don't be afraid.
But I am afraid.
Maybe you're gonna prefer for this to take you than to leave.
Give me your hand.
But I don't want to die.
Trust me.
No.
Mother. Give me your hand.
Mother?
You see? No shock. No tearing asunder. What you feared would come like an explosion is like a whisper. What you thought was the end, the beginning.
Let me back. When will we go?
Go. We have already begun. There was an old woman who lived in a room, and like all of us was frightened of the dark, who discovered in the minute last fragment of her life that there was nothing in the dark that wasn't there when the lights were on. Object lesson for the more frightened amongst us, in or out of the Twilight Zone.
I would have watched this episode 2 weeks ago. I would be in total tears, depression right now. Some of you might know it because some of you might watch all of my reaction videos, or maybe follow me on Twitter, or maybe watch my live sessions, on Twitch. So some of you might know it about the fact that I lost my grandpa. It was 2 months and a half ago now that I lost him, and that was really rough. So really, I have an issue with talking about old people dying and suffering, at the end and stuff like that. Like, it has been difficult for me to talk about it, to talk about him, and to have that on screen, with shows, animes, movies that I'm watching since then. Apparently now I'm dealing with it better, because again, I would have watched this episode 2 weeks ago. I would have been depressed as hell, crying, being so emotional that I couldn't talk normally. So this story clearly talks to me a lot, because I'm still living that particular moment, and it talks to me a lot because I can see 2 subjects inside of it. Old people who are afraid of changing stuff into their lives, of moving and all, because they feel that it's gonna kill them, because they are so used to their lives for how it is that they don't want to change it, even if maybe their house, the place where they live, it's not good enough for them anymore, it can be even dangerous and all. And that, it talks to me a lot, because my grandparents' house, it's an amazing one, but it's one which is really on the second floor. For English people, you don't have, your first floor, it's in fact what is on the ground. For us, it's not that. For us, the third floor, it's your second floor. Well, no matter what, they have to take a lot of stairs to go to their living area. And clearly, for my 2 grandparents, it's really rough. I mean, for my grandpa, it was really rough. And it's like that since entire years, and it has been entire years that my grandma and my grandpa were arguing about it, because my grandma wanted to move because she felt that it was too much for them, when my grandpa, who felt like it was the last years of his life, he didn't want to move because he wanted to to finish his life in his place. I can totally understand it, but at the same time, his house also pushed him to not move a lot anymore because he was blocked, you know, on his living area. It was rough for him to get out of his house because of that, but that's what he wanted. And at the same time, like, it's difficult. He knew that his house was not okay anymore for living a normal life, but at the same time, being inside of his house was comforting him and was the only thing that he wanted, but at the same time it was not good. So really that subject about old people who don't want to move, who don't want to change, who are so used to their habits, who are so used to their old lives and who are living like they are living their old lives, but they don't understand that their actual lives, it's not okay anymore with what their old lives were and all. Like, I can totally get it. I lived it for the last years with my grandpa and my grandma being like that, and my grandma, now that my grandpa died, is also beginning to be like that. Like, she wants to move, but at the same time she refuses each house that she visits because she can feel that the next one that she's gonna take, it's gonna be her last one, and she's afraid of it, and she's afraid of moving no matter what, and she's afraid of changing her habits. And also I can see really all of that. And for me, the second subject of this episode, in fact, it's about being so afraid of dying that because of that you're not doing anything. You prefer to live alone in the dark, to not do anything with your life, to not have a life, than to die trying to have one, doing stuff and all. And that it's a subject which can talk not only to old people, in my opinion, and not only to people like me dealing with old people being like that, but that it can talk to everyone. So it's two really cool subjects that we have during this episode. That grandma who doesn't want to change, to move, who is blocked inside of that building and all, and that grandma who is so afraid of death that she can see it everywhere in anyone, and because of that she prefers to stop living so she can continue to live a little, but it's not really a life, she's seeing it herself. That's not who she was and who she is truly deep inside. That was a good episode. For that, it's really a good episode. Robert Redford, like really? At first I didn't recognize him when he was on the floor like that and all. And then when he was on that bedroom, I was beginning to have some doubts, like, you seem really familiar, you look a lot like him, you know. But I was thinking that this episode was out in January of 1962, so I was like, it can't be possible, you know, like Robert Redford, his age and all. And the more I thought about it, the more I paid attention to his face and also to his tone of voice. And he has really a particular tone of voice, Robert Redford, an accent in a way. And I was like, he has that same tone of voice. So when I checked it during the episode to confirm that it was him, I was like, oh, fuck, it's him. So after that, you know, to have Robert Redford saying to grandma, yes, I'm deaf, and see, I'm looking great and all, and you can come with me and all of that. That is also another, not subject, but a little message put into this episode. The fact that people are afraid of dying because they're afraid of suffering, because they're afraid that it's gonna be ugly, it's gonna be painful and all, when in fact death can look charming. Death can be in fact really sweet, really calm, really peaceful. And right there, that's what he offers to that grandma. And also, this episode is making me think of the movie, I have only the name of it, in French, À la rencontre de Joe Black. I'm gonna search for the name in English. Meet Joe Black, in which it's Brad Pitt who is playing Death, and Brad Pitt playing Death, it's really like Death being a charming person and Death taking people in a sweet way as well. So I felt a parallel, you know, between that, Robert Redford playing Death and Brad Pitt playing Death. I don't know why, I felt a little parallel right there. And also with that vision of Death, a charming guy, that vision of Death also about trying to comfort people, about the idea of what does it look like, you know, when you're dying and all. I felt a similarity right there with that vision. That was a cool episode. I'm gonna check Wikipedia to see if we have some references about it that I don't know. What do we have about this episode? IMDb lists this episode at number 7 in a ranking of all episodes of The Twilight Zone. Ah, no! For the list that I made myself with all of the, you know, all of the rates, this episode is coming at place 18, at equality with the episode 16 of the season 1, the episode 7 of the season 2 and the episode 22 of the season 5. So come on, don't lie about it. Redford stated it has been told by the production company of the series that this is the most often viewed episode of The Twilight Zone. That's what he said that someone told him. Is it truly the case? I don't know. It's not my favorite one. For all of the episodes that I watched so far, it's not my favorite one. But it's a really good one. For the fact that he's into it and for the subjects that it explores. It's a good one. I'm glad that I watched it. Tell me what did you think about it? What did you think about that way of talking about these big subjects? I'm interested by your opinion about it. I don't know when I'm gonna see you again for an episode of The Twilight Zone, but I hope that you appreciated it and you can check, you know, the playlist that I made for it on YouTube and on Patreon. So you can check maybe other episodes of The Twilight Zone that I reacted to as well. Okay, it's all for you and for me for today, so it's all for me for now. So bye for now. Bye.
Wait a minute, Doc. Are you telling me that you built a time machine?
Hey.